What's up, guys? It's Carlos EDC here today, and we're gonna be reviewing the Shredder from Civivi. It's a budget knife. It's under $61. A deep pocket carry, big blade, ergonomic, flipper, manual, G10 scales, full liners. But why don't we just get down on the table and review it thoroughly because it deserves to be. Let's start off with some measurements. The blade is 4 inches, but cutting edge is only 3.5 because of the finger choil. Overall is 8 inches. You can see by each square is half an inch. But to get a better idea of the size, let's do some size comparisons real quick. Here it is against the PM2. PM2 has 3 inches of cutting edge, so less cutting edge, but about the same size overall. Very similar in size. Now, a smaller knife that a lot of people like. This is the Ferrum Forge Mass Drop Gent S35E and G10 scales. Watch the review. So you can see it's a big knife, and this is the S2R baton. A lot of people own this one. I own it in copper, but it's the same size as the aluminum ones. I forget my scale, but I'll annotate the weight of it right here. The weight on it doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels great in the pocket. It has a great pocket clip. So we'll just jump in and start talking about the positives of this knife. So the very first positive that I noticed about this knife was the opening action. You can literally open it anytime you want, and the detent is set up very nicely. Sorry, I have a small set. So you can finger flick it, even with your ring finger, which is weird, but you can still do it. Once I got it with a pinky as well. I may or may not be able to get that on camera. There it is. I spider flicked it with a pinky. I don't know if you can say that about another knife, but this thing is very flickable, and the flipper action is also really good. That was my bad, not the knife's. There's jimping on it. The jimping's not aggressive. It's very nice jimping, as you can see right here. They chamfered the flipper tab. Again, keep in mind this thing is $61. So the things I'm mentioning are pretty impressive when you consider the price. But the flipper is chamfered. It has jimping all the way down here. Doesn't have jimping on the back. It doesn't need it. You can deploy it in a lot of different ways, which is the thing that came out at me right away. Of course, it's made by Civivi, so the fit and finish on a $61 knife is very impressive. The blade is centered very nicely, as you can see. The liners are recessed, and they don't protrude or have any gaps where they're not supposed to have. Again, the clip on the clip, sometimes on these cheaper knives, the screws are not recessed. On this one, the screws on the pocket clip are recessed. Something that they don't even do sometimes on like higher end knives like this Outlast. See, the screws are poking out. It's not a problem on the Outlast. I just want to say it out loud. The clip has great retention. It's slicing in and out of the pocket. As you can see, it looks great. And the black clip on the Civivis actually lasts a fair amount of time. I carried an Anthropos for quite a while before I sold it off. The scales are nice. The gripitude on the G10 is not super aggressive, and it's not like non-existent, which is hard to have that sweet spot. This very much is on that sweet spot of gripitude, greepiness. In the ergonomics, it fits extremely well in the hand. It does have this curve. The curve, I thought it would bother me, but it doesn't. It falls right in between the fingers. However, a lot of people, are not all for bumps like that. But I can tell you it works really good down here. It works really good up here. A very ergonomic knife. I'd say is around the same level of ergos as a PM2. Obviously, it feels very differently, but if you were to grade some in a scale, I'd give the PM2 like a 4-star in greepiness, and I would consider this a 4-star in greepiness as well. If you ask me, well, what do you consider a 5? I'd say something for foldable knives. I'd say something like this 8015. I bet the 8010 feels better. Other than that, if you want to get really good ergonomics, you go for a fixed blade. Like, they just have better ergos. But for pocket knives, it is very ergonomic. I'd give it around a 4-star. The clip is not on the way. You can work with this for a long time. I took it to work. I did a lot of cuts with it and cut down a lot of cardboard. Don't think I have any footage of it, but the other great thing, now that we're talking cutting ability, is the grind on this thing. The grind on this thing was done very nicely. It's very thin behind the edge. Still strong, still nice. Nothing special about the grind. It's just a satin blade. The hole is chamfered up here, but not down here. It is very slicey. It is a hollow grind, which is difficult to see these days. But as you can see, it cuts things very well, no problem. This thing was really good on cheese because it does have a hollow grind. I wanted to experiment with that, so I cut a lot of different cheese, and it was a pleasure to cut cheese. Usually cutting cheese is not a pleasure. It's very much a struggle, but with the hollow ground this thinly and this slicey, it didn't feel too bad. The jimping on it is nice. It feels like jimping from a production knife company, but it feels good. It doesn't tear up your hand. It handles very well. I've said this in different knives, but sometimes when knives are well designed, you can do really precise cuts with the tip of it because the knife was designed well. And with D2, which is what this knife uses for a blade, I'm not that scared of using the tip of the blade because I used it with the Anthropos a lot, and it was never ever a problem. So D2 on Civivi are usually good to go. As a construction worker, doing whatever usually lasts me about a week of usage before I have to strop it or anything like that. Which is really good because you want to have a knife that you just take Monday to Friday. Saturday you pay some attention to it, like you clean it, you blow it out, take it apart, strop it, etc. Let's take this out of the way. That's about all the positives I can come up with this knife. But the best part of it, I think, the mentionable, is that when Civivi releases a knife now, as long as you like the design, that knife is going to be good to go. That knife is going to serve you well. It's probably going to have great fit and finish. Not probably, I mean, most likely it's going to have great fit and finish. I mean, this was just a knife that was lent to me by my boy Gunner EDC. And fit and finish wise is really good. I mean, I don't know why people are spending more money than $61. I mean, obviously I'm looking at things that are more costly. For example, this PM2 is $151 for the base model now, and I mean, yes, 30V is gonna do a lot better than D2, but for $61 you can almost get there. If you know how to strop or sharpen a knife, then and you enjoy it, I don't see why you need a super steel. But yeah, let's go for the negatives of this knife, which is gonna be a short one. Also, there's no lanyard hole for this thing. There's like a lanyard stud or lanyard tube back here. I don't know what to call it. Lanyard space, I guess. Which is very aesthetically pleasing. Not putting a freaking hole in your blade is something I appreciate, to be honest, because I don't use one. I'd like to have the option for it for whatever reason, but I don't use it. So if you can put it out of the way right here and still make it very aesthetically, that's very much a positive to me. And like I said, in the negatives, there's not much to complain here. Yeah, maybe this little bumpy here might not be your thing. For me, it's not a bother. If I bought it, I'd take it down a little bit and play with the G10. But not really. It doesn't bother me enough for the price of this piece. It doesn't matter that much. And it's not chamfered down here in this part of the hole. Up here it is, but then they didn't do this part, which is $61, so it doesn't matter to me. It might be big. If you're a person that can't buy it, just buy a smaller Civivi. You don't have to own this beast. I like it. I like this size. This size is good for me. I like it in the hand. I like it in the pocket. It didn't the pocket pecker didn't bother my wallets or anything in my pocket, so it's not too bad. It's chamfered very nice. Again, I'm talking about the positives again, and It's just because this knife is really good. You guys know that I like to dig in. I like to carry my knives. I like to dig in and tell you the negatives, because I think you guys deserve to know before you make that purchasing decision. But with this one, guys, if you like it aesthetically and you have $61 in your pocket, order one, put it in your cart. This thing is awesome, especially for there's not a whole lot of hollow grinds out there. This is not heavily or aggressively hollow. It is extremely thin behind the edge, and it worked fantastically. So in conclusion, who do I recommend this knife to? Anybody who likes it. If you like it aesthetically, if it pleases you in the eye, just get one. And if you're like, yeah, I like that, but I like it in Damascus, Civivi's probably gonna make one. Uh, so just save up your 60, save up another 30, because they usually go for 90 when they have Damascus. That was it. That was my review. By the way, the hanky I use is a PD Hanks. Look them up. Like, subscribe to this video, comment down below. Let me know if there is another Civivi you would like me to review. This one was loaned by my friend Gunner EDC for as long as it takes to make a review. Super cool guy. I just want to say thank you. If you made it all the way to the end screen, subscribe. Just hit this little button with my logo and a pocket dump and subscribe. This is a video YouTube recommends, and this is a video I pick that I think you might like. But this was Carlos EDC, and I hope you guys have a great freaking day.